When you pull up to a gas station, one of the first decisions you face is choosing between different fuel types, usually labeled with numbers like 87, 89, or 91. These numbers might seem simple, but they represent something crucial to how your engine performs and how long it lasts. This number is called the octane rating, and it plays a significant role in how gasoline behaves under pressure inside your engine. Many people assume that higher octane automatically means better fuel, but that's not always true. Understanding what octane rating really means helps you make smarter choices for your car and avoid unnecessary costs or damage. In this video, we'll break down what gasoline octane rating is, how it works, how it's measured, and why it matters more than most drivers realize. Let's dive in, right here, on History of Simple Things. Octane rating is a measure of how resistant gasoline is to premature ignition inside an engine. In simple terms, it tells you how well the fuel can handle pressure before it ignites on its own. Engines are designed to burn fuel in a controlled way where a spark plug ignites the mixture at the right moment. However, if the fuel ignites too early due to heat and pressure, it can cause a problem known as engine knocking. Octane rating exists to quantify how likely this unwanted combustion is to happen. The higher the octane number, the more stable the fuel is under pressure, meaning it is less likely to ignite prematurely. This doesn't mean higher octane fuel contains more energy, it simply means it burns more predictably under stressful engine conditions. Because of this stability, engines that operate under higher compression or heavier loads often require fuels with higher octane ratings. Choosing the correct octane helps ensure smoother combustion, protecting the engine and allowing it to perform as intended. Octane rating is important because it directly affects how safely and efficiently an engine operates. Using fuel with the correct octane ensures that combustion happens at the right time, maximizing performance and minimizing wear on engine components. It helps prevent engine knocking, which can cause long-term damage to pistons, valves, and other critical parts of the engine. Octane rating also allows engineers to design more powerful and efficient engines by enabling higher compression ratios without risking premature ignition. Without it, many modern engine technologies, including turbocharged and high-performance engines, would be far more limited in their design and capabilities. For drivers, understanding octane rating means knowing exactly what your vehicle needs and avoiding both underperformance and unnecessary spending at the pump. It also helps drivers make informed decisions when traveling to regions where fuel grades may be labeled differently. In the long run, consistently using the recommended octane level helps maintain engine reliability and ensures the vehicle performs the way it was originally designed. Inside a gasoline engine, combustion is a carefully timed process. Air and fuel are mixed together, compressed, and then ignited by a spark plug. This controlled explosion pushes the piston down, generating power. However, if the fuel-air mixture ignites before the spark plug fires, it disrupts this timing. This premature ignition is caused by high pressure and temperature inside the cylinder. When it happens, multiple flame fronts collide, creating a sharp knocking sound. This is not just noise, it's a sign of inefficient combustion and potential damage. Octane rating reflects how well a fuel resists this kind of uncontrolled ignition. Higher octane fuels require more pressure and heat before igniting, making them more suitable for engines that operate under more intense conditions. Engine knocking, also known as detonation, occurs when fuel ignites unevenly inside the engine cylinder. Instead of a smooth burn, parts of the mixture explode unpredictably, creating shock waves. These shock waves produce the knocking or pinging sound that drivers sometimes hear. Over time, this can cause serious damage to engine components such as pistons and cylinder walls. Knocking happens when fuel cannot withstand the pressure inside the engine before ignition. Low-octane fuel is more prone to this issue because it ignites more easily. High-octane fuel, on the other hand, is more stable and less likely to cause knocking. Preventing knocking is one of the main reasons why octane ratings are so important, as they directly influence engine durability and performance. Octane rating is determined using specialized test engines that simulate real driving conditions. Scientists compare the fuel's performance to a standard mixture of two reference fuels, iso-octane and heptane. Iso-octane is highly resistant to knocking and is assigned a value of 100, while heptane is very prone to knocking and is assigned a value of 0. If a fuel behaves like a mixture containing 90% iso-octane and 10% heptane, it gets an octane rating of 90. This system provides a consistent way to measure fuel stability. In many countries, the number displayed at gas stations is an average of two testing methods: research octane number and motor octane number. This average gives a more realistic representation of how the fuel performs in everyday driving conditions. There are two main ways to measure octane: research octane number, or RON, and motor octane number, or MON. RON measures fuel performance under relatively mild conditions, such as lower speeds and temperatures. MON, on the other hand, tests fuel under more intense conditions, including higher speeds and temperatures. Because engines operate under a range of conditions, many countries use an average of these two values to represent the octane rating. This is often written as R plus M/2 on fuel pumps. In some regions, like Europe and parts of Asia, only RON is displayed, which can make the numbers appear higher even if the fuel is similar. Understanding these differences helps explain why octane numbers can vary between countries even for comparable fuels. Higher octane fuel exists primarily to support engines that operate under higher compression ratios. Compression ratio refers to how much the air-fuel mixture is squeezed before ignition. Engines with higher compression ratios can produce more power and efficiency, but they also create more heat and pressure. This increases the risk of premature ignition. High-octane fuel resists this early ignition, allowing the engine to function as designed. Without it, the engine might knock or reduce performance to protect itself. High-performance vehicles, sports cars, and turbocharged engines often require higher octane fuel for this reason. It's not about making more power directly, it's about enabling engine designs that can produce more power safely. A common misconception is that higher octane fuel automatically gives your car more power. In reality, octane rating does not measure the energy content of gasoline. It only measures how resistant the fuel is to knocking. If your car is designed to run on regular fuel, using premium fuel will not significantly increase power or performance. The engine simply doesn't need the added resistance to ignition. However, in engines designed for high-octane fuel, using lower octane can reduce power because the engine may adjust its performance to prevent knocking. This means that the benefits of high-octane fuel depend entirely on the engine design, not the fuel itself. In other words, using a higher octane than recommended will usually just cost more without providing meaningful improvements. At most gas stations, you'll find different grades of gasoline labeled as regular, mid-grade, and premium. Regular gasoline typically has an octane rating around 87. Mid-grade usually ranges from about 89 to 90, and premium is often between 91 and 94, depending on the country and fuel standards. These different grades exist to match the requirements of various engine designs. Most everyday vehicles are built to run efficiently on regular gasoline without any issues. Premium fuel is intended for engines that operate under higher compression or require greater resistance to knocking. Choosing the correct grade helps the engine run smoothly and as efficiently as possible. While premium fuel is more expensive, it is only necessary if your vehicle manufacturer specifically recommends or requires it. Otherwise, using it may not provide any noticeable benefit and can simply increase fuel costs over time. Modern engines are carefully engineered to operate with specific fuel types. Factors like compression ratio, turbocharging, and ignition timing all influence the octane level an engine requires to run properly. High-performance engines often use technologies that significantly increase pressure and temperature inside the cylinder in order to produce more power. Because of these extreme conditions, they rely on higher octane fuel to prevent premature ignition and engine knocking. On the other hand, everyday vehicles are typically optimized for efficiency, durability, and affordability, which allows them to run reliably on lower octane fuel. Many modern cars are also equipped with knock sensors that monitor combustion and automatically adjust ignition timing when knocking is detected. This allows the engine to adapt to slightly different fuel grades if necessary. However, when the octane level is too low, the engine may reduce power or efficiency to protect itself from damage. Octane rating can indirectly affect fuel efficiency, but not in the way many people think. Higher octane fuel does not contain more energy, so it does not inherently improve fuel economy. However, in engines designed for high octane, using the correct fuel allows the engine to operate more efficiently. This is because the engine can maintain higher compression and optimal ignition timing without the risk of knocking. When an engine runs at its intended settings, combustion becomes smoother and more efficient. Studies show that higher octane fuels can enable improved efficiency in engines specifically designed for them. In contrast, using high-octane fuel in a regular engine typically offers little to no improvement in fuel economy. In many cases, the difference in mileage is so small that most drivers will not notice it in everyday driving. This is why automakers clearly state the recommended octane level in a vehicle's manual to ensure the best balance of performance, efficiency, and cost. There are several misconceptions surrounding octane ratings. One of the most common is that higher octane fuel is always better. In reality, it is only better if your engine requires it. Another misconception is that octane rating reflects fuel quality or cleanliness, which is not necessarily true. All gasoline must meet certain standards regardless of octane level. Some people also believe that using premium fuel will clean their engine or improve longevity, but this is not guaranteed. Octane rating is specifically about preventing knocking, not about improving overall fuel quality. Understanding these misconceptions helps drivers make more informed decisions and avoid unnecessary expenses. Gasoline octane rating may seem like just a number on a pump, but it plays an important role in how engines function. It determines how fuel behaves under pressure and how efficiently it burns inside the engine. While higher octane fuels are necessary for some high-performance engines, they are not always better for every vehicle. The key is simply using the fuel grade recommended for your engine. Doing so helps maintain proper performance, efficiency, and long-term engine reliability. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.